This program features live coverage of an African safari and may include animal kills and carcasses. Viewer discretion is advised.
I am surrounded by my favorites. Swazi and Indabele. They were here in camp. We've literally just left camp. They came to see us all. Novella, they're running. Go. Go, you're gonna miss them. Go. I think it's Novella that is right by my side here. Don't know if you get a view. Good morning, I'm Try. How are we all? My name is Lauren and I do have Gert on camera, surrounded by hyenas. Had to borrow a hat from Tessa and I am wearing sneakers. Everything got so wet and it's not dried. Luckily, the equipment, we managed to keep that dry and that's the most important thing. All I could have asked for this morning was hyenas and lo and behold, we have them. They were literally in camp. They came to the vehicle bay. I think this is Novella, not Novella, but Swazan and the Belly did. And it's almost as if they're saying, come on guys, you're a little bit late. But anyway, this is completely live and interactive. So that means you must talk to us. Please, please do. Send in your comments, questions, anything you want to know. Theories, using the hashtag WildEarth on Twitter. Or if you're watching on the website, as long as you've registered, you can submit your questions under the live safari page. What a great start to the morning. We got hit so bad in that storm yesterday, so bad. And the problem is nothing dries, so Tessa has so kindly given me her hat and I'm gonna rock it. And kids, if you're watching, please do send in your questions via email. And the email address is kidssquestions@wildearth.tv. Is that you, Novella? Why are you not joining in on the fun? Oh, they're chasing Impala. Run, Novella, go get them. They're chasing all the Impala. Oh, she's running. Oh, we're all running. See how fast. Hyenas can run remarkably fast when they want to. The Impalas are all stotting. That's what they normally do when they see dogs. But they're not hunting. They're too busy playing. Look at this. Now, for those of you that have never seen this pair before, they're brother and sister. They're twins. And they look so alike. What do you... Okay, they're now playing right in front of the car. Oh, hello, Swaz. At. Swazi. No. Okay. Very curious, these two. Nope. That's good. I didn't catch that name. Sorry, I was concentrating on the two large spotted creatures that were next to my vehicle. But what a great start to the day, really. It's actually all I could have wanted. And it just shows you how, like, yes, what a great start. And it just shows you what playful animals they are. They really are just having so much fun right now. The Impala are not so amused. But they're honestly just having so much fun. They are probably happy that the storm is over. They're happy that they can run around, dry off a little bit, warm up a little bit. I do believe more rain is in store, but I'm obviously hoping it's when we finish drive. I can feel clanging under the car. And Belle? Is she scratching her bum against a tire again? Now this pair, although they're acting like a bunch of goofballs, they are actually high ranked. They're in a good position in the clan. They're definitely not the oldest, but they're not low rankers. And they're just always having the best time. This makes up for the lack of hyena sightings for me recently. Now, naturally, it goes without saying we have to be really careful where we drive today. We have to think about what roads we want to use, and obviously no off-roading. That goes without saying. But really, I do think a lot of animals will be moving because it's been such a wet night that they want to shake it off, which is a good thing for us. Let's see if we can go a little bit further ahead. Can't believe I'm wearing sneakers on drive. But I want warm feet. Warm feet. I'm not doing wet feet on a day like today. Oh, what a fantastic start. I'm definitely going to try and keep up with these guys as long as I can. But for now, let's take a look at the weather.
Good morning, everybody. I can tell you that coming from Gari Dam on the dam wall, good morning, hello, that we are feeling a little bit drier than yesterday morning. This is where it all went down for myself and Gert last night on this dam wall. And we're back here this morning just to try and see what might have come down to the dam overnight with all of this lovely rain. My name is Tessa. I'm going to be your guide on safari here this morning. Behind the camera this morning is Owen, and we are just going to be enjoying a little bit of the bush today as it's nice and green and still very wet after the rain. The roads are still soaking wet and I don't think we're going to be off-roading today. So we're going to be looking for animals on the roads and just taking a bit of a bumble to see what we can find. But we started our morning with a lovely view and we just want to see what happens. My plan for the day, I'm wanting to head up and see if I can find Kara again a little bit later because she was hanging around with those impalas. I'm not sure if she managed to kill anything last night, so I would like to go and check on that. But then we're also going to be bumbling down towards some of our cut lines to see if maybe the lions were tempted to move after all of the rain last night. But for now, everything has started on a very tranquil note with our hippo in Gari Dam and just a light little sprinkling of rain that's coming down in little drops. You can hear a lot of birds around us, and everybody seems to be doing a little bit of a dawn chorus to celebrate the lovely rain we had. Waikisha, yes, it is a very peaceful and tranquil morning, a beautiful scene. You can hear our family of Egyptian geese somewhere in the background. But what I want to do while we are sitting here and just scanning the banks and appreciating the view, let's just have a listen to some of the birds this morning to get our morning started, because they are extra loud this morning in the drainage line, celebrating all of the rain we had. Let's have a listen. A really gorgeous way to start our morning with so many different bird calls. I did actually hear what sounded maybe like an elephant breaking a branch there. So I'm wondering if the elephants are going to be out and about this morning, enjoying the overcast weather and the promise of more rain. We are expecting more rain today, tonight, tomorrow. So I know the animals will be affected by that, and we might get very lucky with some predators, and we might not get very lucky. Oh, hello, terrapins. Good morning. Seems like everybody is slowly coming out this morning and just appreciating a bit of the grey skies. I did see a pied kingfisher just now as well, but I'm not sure where it's gone to. It feels like the birds are getting louder by the minute. Daniel, it very much is nature's choir. Bird calls are very important, and sometimes a lot of animals and even people will have things that are based on bird calls. The first songs of the bush are bird calls, usually. And then, of course, the hippo joins in. We really have got such a mix of birds around. I'm sure that the hippo is even enjoying the bird calls this morning with his head out the water. The pied kingfisher has just landed on that log on the top right there, and there it goes. Alright, we're going to sit and appreciate this kingfisher and our view and the sounds a little bit longer, and then we'll head off to see if we can find Kara for you.
Through the long grass. Someone's under my car. It's in the belly. And Novella's here. Yes, you all know this car. Yes, it smells a lot wetter than normal, but you know this car. Yes, it's very stinky. But then so are you guys. Annabelle is itching her entire body on my high left jack. Hyena lovers and experts out there, you all know who you are. I want you to take a look at in the belly. Sometimes I want to say intima. In the belly's body shape right now. I feel something about it has changed. So if you get a good look at her, she's she's itching her entire body on the car. But if you get a good look at it, there's just something a little bit different about Indabelle's body. That's my car. Okay. The sounds of the morning are just wonderful.
Sorry mo boss, sabi na po boss, sa update.
Good morning, Sabello. No updates so far, just Misi on quarantine.
Well, alright, thanks so much. Okay.
This has turned out to be such a glorious morning after all the rain. Indabelle has decided that it's going to be fun to eat plants. Are you going vegetarian on us, dear? She scratched her entire body on the car, but I just want you to have a look at her body, everybody. Swaz has wandered off. This is Indabelle. Once you get a good look, naturally they're not making it easy for us this morning because they're so attracted to the car, but just have a look. I feel like her shape looks different, her physique. You're welcome to call me crazy. You're welcome to disagree, and you're also welcome to agree. But just look at her body. Look at the curvature of her spine and the low hanging tummy. It just looks a little bit different than normal. I just want to check on them. She's gone back under the car. I mean, the car's a great place to be. Manito, cautious, and you'll notice earlier, okay, there's in the belly. You really need a side profile, to be honest. It doesn't look any different from behind. Well, just when she's standing to the side, just share your thoughts with me. Of course, you have to be very cautious when animals come to the car, all sorts of animals. And of course, they don't speak English, or maybe they do, but there's a lot to be said in your tone. Now, when an animal does come very close, I'm a big believer that you don't want to give them a fright. A lot of accidents happen with wild animals, elephants, snakes, even domestic dogs, actually. When you give them a fright, they react or they feel cornered, and that's when accidents happen. So although these animals are not going to feel cornered, I don't want to give them a fright. I want to go, hey, or turn on the engine to the point where they maybe react in the opposite way that I'm intending. So when these guys do come close to the car, a little bit of a hey, and that tone of voice actually will make a big difference. Now, if they got far too close, then yes, of course, you would need to react. But there's a lot to be said with the tone of your voice. Oh, now we've got a stick in our mouth. Okay. Now, if an elephant, for example, gets too close and they are not happy, you also have to match their energy levels. So sometimes you do have to get really angry with an elephant and say, hey, but really, really mean it. Like, really be angry, and the elephant will feel that. So really, you've got to kind of match the situation with the animal. These hyenas are very, very curious, and obviously we've spent a lot of time with them for many years now, but they are very attracted to the car. They just must love the smell and the feel and just want to know what it is. And I think let's get a little bit closer to them. Once they go into the long grass, I'm afraid, we are not going to be able to follow. But yes, you have to be very, very cautious. Know the animal. Oh, goodness. Pay attention, watch the body language. But do I get nervous? Not necessarily, I must say. You've got to be in control. Just like sharks can sort of sense fear, I'm a firm believer that animals can too. So you've got to be in control of the situation. I'll spend all morning with you guys. Happily. this is happening right outside our camp. That's the wonderful thing about quarantine. These are the sightings that I crave and that I've missed. We have a lot of action happening on quarantine. That's why we always check it. But of late, it has been rather quiet. Deborah, you are more than beyond delighted to have seen hyenas today. Me too. Once we woke up and we realized just how white everything was, there was a lot of preparation and borrowing clothes, and I wasn't sure we were really going to see anything. But then Swaz and Ndebele came into camp. But you have to remember, it's not something that you should promote. But with Swaz and Ndebele, this was at the time when Corky was the matriarch. And do you see that marula on the corner of quarantine, that iconic marula at about 12:30? Just behind that marula, just if you look at the thicket behind it, that's where we last saw Pretty. I believe that drainage in there that runs into Gallagher Pan drainage, you obviously can't see it, but it's right there. I believe that's where Pretty passed. Something was very wrong at the end. She didn't have much use of her back legs, but it didn't look like an attack by another animal. It looked like her back legs were just wasting away. It was very sad. And Pretty is Swaz and Ndebele's mother, so they lost her very young. And this quarantine was still the sort of hubbub of the Juma clan activity. The den was just along the road. They do seem to have shifted a little bit south, but that's normal. And I do feel that because Swaz and Ndebele were on their own from quite a young age, they still were looked after. They still had Corky, their mum's best friend. But I just feel they spent a lot of time in our camp because it probably provided shelter and lots of interesting smells, maybe a bit of safety. So they're just very familiar with our camp. I think they just spent such a long time there. They saw us all walking up and down constantly, and they're just quite familiar with people. Now, I'm not saying that's the case across the board. Not at all, but with these two. Dogs! We've got dogs! Oh my goodness! Wild dogs! Oh my goodness, the dogs are hunting! I can't believe it. Have you got them? The dogs are hunting, the impalas are starting, oh my goodness, madness. Okay, let me try and go forward a little bit. And the dogs are there. They're all here. Got them? I haven't seen dogs this stint, everyone. Rowan was very excited to see the Hamiltons pack, so I let him go multiple times because I just wanted him to be happy. Hello, doggies. If any of you can identify the pack, please let me know. I know that I will not be able... Oh, my cameraman's smiling! Yay! Fiona, I know! Action-packed! I've literally just sat on quarantine. Oh, look at them up the mound. This is quarantine. Just behind this mound, there's a dead tree. That's our camp. That is where we live. We were literally just watching Ndebele, Swaz and Novella, and the dogs come in now. Ndebele's excited. Look at her, following the dogs. Maybe that's why they're here. Maybe the dogs were sleeping nearby. Look at Ndebele running. Okay, they're hunting impala right down towards camp. I'm gonna move. If this ends up happening in our camp, oh my goodness. It's happened before in camp. Oh. Ribbon. Ribbon's also here. Hi, girl. I don't know where to go look or what to do. Okay, Ribbon, I'm gonna follow the doggies. Just while I can. Okay, now she's gonna run alongside the car. Of course she is. Go, Ribbon, go! Everybody's down there, you see that? I don't think they got the Impala. Wow, I did not expect that type of morning. I think this is why. You see our camp, see that little sign, Juma Research Camp? There you go. Everything is literally happening right here. Okay, I'm gonna go a little bit closer. Oh no, 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 don't go into, no, guys. No, walk on into camp. Yeah, you take a big extra sip of that coffee. You're gonna need it. Okay, this is home. Guys, there's a no entry sign. They don't read the signs. I don't know why. Oh my goodness, it's been a really long time since I've had a sighting like this. Whoo, whoo, whoo. Even the red-chested cuckoo is getting involved. It's so good to see dogs. I really haven't seen them in a very, very long time. Ah! Elephants on quarantine! Oh my goodness, everybody's here. We've got Ellies all huddled together sleeping. Dogs and hyenas. Well, this has turned out to be the most perfect morning, everyone.
I am bumbling along back down towards Twin Dams Road, and I want to just see what else we can find. We were actually just heading up onto quarantine to look for Kara when we had the sea of impalas rush towards us. We could hear them coming before we saw them, and that must be the wild dogs chasing them from the other side. So we have turned around and left the area. It is starting to rain, so the only thing I am going to do is quickly cover my monitor, because that is the most important thing there. I don't mind if I get wet, but just try not to get the equipment wet. Okay, so my plan is just to see how far Twin Dams Road, how far down Twin Dams Road, that's too many T's and D's in one sentence, how far down I can drive without getting stuck after the rain we had last night. But the impalas that we had up in quarantine are now all down here, and we're actually already on Twin Dams Road, quite far from the dam. So they really have run very far and very quickly from those wild dogs, and I don't blame them. It's a perfect morning for wild dogs. Right, we'll see what we come across. I'm hoping, because it is such a cool morning, we might see some elephants. Thank you. Might see some elephants. We'll just see how we go from there. I have a feeling we're going to find something on Triple M today, on the boundaries, coming in or going out. Lovely morning. It's actually turned out to be perfect after the massive downpour of rain that we had last night. It was just, it flashed us away. Literally flash flood kind of rain and then disappeared. But it only actually really stopped sometime this morning. But it was definitely interesting to be stuck in it and then see the calm.
This is absolute chaos, everyone. And I've got good news. Guess who's here? Sutu. I don't know where she is right now, but there are more hyenas. And Sutu's here, everyone. I've been looking for Sutu. Sutu is June's older daughter, Navella's sister. I don't actually know if that is Sutu. I've lost track now. There's possibly about 7 or 8 hyenas here. But I definitely saw Sutu. Ribbons joined. Navella, Swaz, and the belly. Bless me. That smell of dogs is really strong. You know, if they move just a tad south, you're going to get them on the down cam. If you are watching a down cam, point towards the Moman's house. Sandy, no they don't. The hyenas are utterly using the dogs. Completely, because dogs are messy eaters. They will kill quickly, eat quickly, and they leave a lot of remains behind. They leave a lot of the carcass, and the hyenas naturally can come in and just completely swoop that all up. So they just follow the dogs to hope to get some remains. There's absolutely no... Although in saying that, there was a famous story of a dog called Solo that lost her pack and joined up with a spotted hyena and some jackals. But, I mean, that's a very special, unique case. Generally speaking, they don't... Oh, the dogs were behind us as well. This is a big pack, everyone. Have we got an ID yet? Come on, James Richard. But generally they don't hunt cooperatively. They have the same hunting technique, which is coursing. They both hunt through coursing. Hyenas do hunt, but in this case they are scavenging. They are sort of just trying to follow the dogs and hope to get a free meal, which is incredibly opportunistic. And there's Ribbon. Why are you looking at us, Ribbon? I think you should follow the dogs. Have you seen where they've gone? The dogs that they left.
Yeah.
Because these dogs are running back up towards quarantine. Look, I think... Yeah, I can off-road. So what I'm going to do is... I wouldn't want to off-road anyway on a day like today, is try and follow these ones. I haven't even had a chance to finish my coffee. How rude. They are part of the same pack. They've just split. They haven't got lucky yet. They're trying to hunt. And there are a lot of impala on quarantine, but they're not getting lucky. safari kids see the hyena den's very far away now. Remember, it's way down at Twin Dams. It's not the Philemon's dens anymore. So the dogs are far. Okay. I think we're gonna have to take. So they're not. Oh, they're running right to the elephants. Oh look! Oh look! Elephant sees them. Not happy. That head is up. Ears is up. I can't see the dogs, but that's exactly where they ran. I wonder if they've just ran on by. I think we're going to loop around. Otherwise, we're going to lose them entirely. Okay, here I go. Oh dear. Helen, indeed, so much excitement. Normally on a dry day you would off-road for a high-profile sighting like this, but not after that amount of water. No, I do not want an ice cold shower this morning. We're going to drive like this. Okay, they went past the elephants. Here we go. Not difficult to find. Look at that. Okay, the dogs have gone flat. They've scared every single impala from quarantine. This is a big pack. Imagine being dogs and just knowing there is always a hyena watching. You never get peace and quiet without these spotted creatures. Now you will see the fence that it is a Moman's house. There's not much we can do about that. I actually said this morning I don't want to drive too far, but I don't want to get caught in the rain again. And well, we're still on quarantine. So thank you, doggies. I think they were on Juma yesterday, but obviously our drive got cancelled. $12. Yeah. Okay, we've counted 12. Sir 50, me too. Their speeds, their agility, their stamina. Just they're resting now because it's been chaos, but they'll pick back up. They'll need to eat. It's also cold. It's wet. There is a reason that we crave food when we're cold. I mean, when I'm in Scotland, I'm always craving food, and it's because we are endothermic, just like the dogs, and it generates heat. Our metabolism generates heat, so the more we fuel it with food, the warmer we'll feel. So these guys will be hungry, I'm sure of it. I don't have a monitor, so I've not had a sort of close enough look to see if any of them have blood stains. I'll get my binos out in just a moment. But they may have already made a kill. But because there's such a high number, I mean 12 so far we've counted, maybe those tummies are not full. It's amazing, all of that absolute chaos, and now it's just everything's calm. It's good to catch up with the Juma clan, not at the Dane. Wow, what an amazing morning. I'm going to sit here and hopefully if they move, we'll be able to keep up with the dogs.
I wish that I could get the smells of the bush this morning out to share with everybody, because after the rain, the bush willows are smelling so sweet. You can still smell the moisture in the air. Everything smells so floral this morning. Floral, sweet, honey-like. It's brilliant. It's absolutely brilliant. I love it. But I wish I could kind of somehow transmit that smell, convey it. It really is smelling so good. And that's one of the best things after the rain, is the bush gets a little bit of a kickstart again. Yes, we had some hard rain last night, but it didn't really do too much damage. It did more good than damage, and you can tell, everything is looking a little bit greener. The smells are much nicer because there's still moisture in the air. I'm hoping we're going to see a lot of flowers. I know the birds are definitely more active, and it seems like the animals are more active as well. It just feels like it's going to be a very, very lucky day. So I'm actually just arriving at Twin Dams. And we are just checking along the edge of the drainage line because I feel like there might be leopards or lions that are living around this morning. We're going to see how it goes. It really is a stunning morning to be out in the bush, and it's such a pleasant temperature. I've put my jersey on, but it's not freezing, it's just cool. We're having little patches of rain and then it clears up again, so it's not a solid, unpleasant rain at this point. It's one of the best mornings you could ever ask to be out in the bush, I think. Everything just looks and feels shiny. Definitely looks and feels shiny. But I think we are going to get a little bit more rain, and I think it might start coming down hard just now.
I managed to keep up with them. Gat said he saw one with a collar. So if there is a collar, there's potential that it could be the Pungwe pack.
That one on the far right.
Far right. Yes. It's amazing how out of place you feel when you've not got a monitor to reference, but then it could be the Pungwe pack. They are a collared pack that are monitored, their movements are monitored. I don't know where all the hyenas have gone. There were about 8 of them.
This one there.
Oh, I see it now. Oh, my binos are so wet with condensation, I'm not going to see anything. Cindy is really dependent on the area, but I guess on average between 15 to 20 when they have their sort of pups after a year of breeding. But it really, really depends. You get some really big packs up in areas like the Serengeti. Then you get some packs that have suffered a lot of loss, very small packs. But I mean, here we've got 12. And then you get the Hamilton's pack, which we see, I wouldn't say regularly, but we see around here that come in at about 22, 24. So I would say on average, come in at about 15 to 20. But just like elephants, once the herd gets too big, they tend to split into kinship groups because it's just too many individuals for the matriarch to sort of really invest in. And again, it's the same for dogs. If packs get too big, and naturally there are dispersals. But the pack is a dog and the dog is a pack. It really, pack life is everything to these animals, and they are said to be almost, not quite, but almost altruistic in their behavior. It really is all about the pack, and they invest everything in that sort of alpha pair. It's for the greater good rather than the individual benefit. It's raining again. We're going to just pull down the flaps. Just keep us nice and dry. I won't be dry, but we need to keep everything else dry, that's for sure. And again, it goes back to this question that we get asked a lot. What do the animals do in the rain? The dogs will just lie here. There's really nothing they can do. When it rains, get wet. The skies are looking very, very dark. I hope this rain doesn't get any heavier. It's manageable for now. Hannah, the interest is just peaked like this. So you can see they're really relying on their ears. They've got very, very, very incredible hearing. And it's not actually just the alpha pair. You'll read in some textbooks that it's the alpha pair that initiates the hunt, and they all have roles to play. But really, I mean, it wouldn't be the puppies, but within the adults, there's a lot of body language, there's a lot of visual communication going on between them. So once one sort of reacts, they'll all get up, they'll all get interested, they'll watch, they'll follow. There's posturing involved, very similar to lions. There's a lot of body language when they're hunting, and they're hungry. So if an impala strolls on by right now, they're all going to just immediately react. And they create panic. So they're not trying to stay hidden. or camouflage or ambush like the cats. That's not their technique. As I mentioned earlier, it is hunt by coursing. And what they're trying to do is just, they don't care if they're visible. They are trying to create absolute mass panic. And when an animal is panicked, like an impala, they will make mistakes. And when mistakes are made, that's when the dogs will swoop in. Got remarkable amounts of stamina. They can really just run with their prey and naturally hope at some point the prey maybe trips or takes the wrong direction, the wrong turn, or becomes exhausted. And we call this coursing. And they're incredibly successful. As carnivores, dogs are really, really successful. They've got the numbers, they've got the stamina. Woodland kingfishers chirping away. They're going to get up at any minute now, I'm convinced of it. And I mean, they're said to have about an 80% success rate across the board. And it really is communication, and it's not always vocal. They do communicate, hoo, 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 that sort of sound. If they split, if the pack splits and they're trying to tackle something over a distance, then they will vocalize, communicate through vocalizations. But if they're close together like they are now, there'll be a lot of posturing, there'll be a lot of visual communication. And I mean, I've actually found dogs quite a few times here through smell. The smell is so overpowering that they'll be able to track one another through scent. If I can smell them, my mere human nose, and imagine what they can do. And because wild dogs hunt every day, sometimes twice, sometimes 3 times, 4 times, they act their size than lions do. Stephen, you're 9 years old and no, you would never want to keep anything as a pet. Never want to keep a wild animal, but I think you're asking, can they be tamed? And Auntie Lisa Antel messaged me the other day because I was yapping on about domesticating hyenas, and she's right, that's a completely wrong word. Thank you, Lisa. I've known Lisa for many years now, and yes, tame was what I should have been saying. That was a completely wrong word. I'm sorry, I'm tired. But no, not at all. And of course, humans being humans, they have tried with wild dogs because of the relationship that humans have had with dogs all the way through, since the beginning of time, really. Naturally, with wild dogs, humans try to keep them as pets, but really they just don't react well to it. They are naturally really distrusting of humans. I've had dogs on foot before, but they're distrusting when you come, and I think it's due to the pack life. You're not part of the pack. They're very distrusting of you or any animal outside of the pack. They're tolerating these hyenas, but they're not going to let these hyenas sort of get any closer. They're distrusting of them, and they don't like to be touched, which is interesting because hyenas do. They love a good scratch and itch when you sort of get them tame enough, but dogs don't. There's actually this interesting article of someone who did try to tame them and try to sort of touch them, and they really just don't enjoy or are willing to be touched by humans even. Wild dogs just don't display the traits that domestic dogs do. So you shouldn't ever keep them as a pet, and you actually can. It has been tried and tested over the years, and it's just not possible with wild dogs. I mean, humans' greatest relationship, symbiotic relationship, is with our best friend, and that is a domestic dog, but not these guys. And they run such great distances. They are not territorial, so they just move and move and move. They've got huge home ranges. And that's why it's so hard to keep track of dogs, and that's why dogs are in trouble in terms of their population numbers. So there's no way you could ever sort of keep one in your garden unless your back garden is a game reserve. They're really only sedentary when they're den bound, when they're denning. Okay, we are naturally going to batten down the hatches here and stay with our dogs.
Okay, so I'm sitting at a little pan called Baboon Pan, very close to Twin Dams, and we are sitting here because we have heard reports of a leopard. So we're actually just trying to scan along the brush here. Oh, I saw something moving there, Odie.
No, it's a tracker's head.
Oh. There's another vehicle there somewhere. So we're just being patient, sitting here watching, just to see if we can see a leopard popping out and coming towards the pan system here. We are not sure which leopard it is, but we will exercise some patience this morning and sit here and see if we manage to get a glimpse of it. Definitely somewhere along here, so we will see what happens. But while we sit here, it is actually a lovely morning for bird calls around this pan system. We are hearing quite a few different species, so I think it would be lovely to just take that in for a little bit. So let's have a listen, and I will keep scanning for the leopard. Interestingly enough, there have actually been some impalas around this area. I don't think they're aware that there is a leopard here. I don't think the birds are either. These are the normal dawn chorus calls for all of these bird species, not a single alarm call. I wonder if we're going to get a glimpse of this leopard. I hope so. It would be lovely. So I'm actually just turning in my seat at the moment. That's what you can hear. Apologies. We are busy scanning at Baboon Pan, very close to Twin Dams. Sorry, everyone. And that's because we know that there are some vehicles down here, and they have spotted a leopard. And we're hoping that we get a glimpse of the leopard coming towards the pan. We are very close. We're actually on Gari Main, and the leopard is very close to the boundary. And we're very close to the area where there was the carcass in the Mulawati drainage line. So I'm wondering if it's not the leopard from there. So we're just patiently waiting, hoping to see a glimpse of this leopard. We don't know who it is yet. But it does seem like the leopard is moving, so I'm hoping it's going to come towards Juma, towards Gari Main. So we know in this area we've had Maribs recently, possibly Tandi might be around. We've even had Shasha here a few times. So I'd be very excited to see which leopard it is. Because of the amounts of rain that we've had, we're actually not going to be off-roading this morning. Sounds like we had over 35 millimeters of rain in total. That's quite a decent amount of rain. It's very exciting. Oh, the anticipation. Sophia, thank you. I'm hoping I get to see some spots and rosettes as well. Would be absolutely wonderful if we got a glimpse of a leopard this morning. I don't think Kara's gone too far from where she was. I think she's probably in one of the drainage lines around Quarantine somewhere. And I'm wondering if, because she was so consistent there yesterday and the day before, with the hyenas there this morning and then the wild dogs coming along, I'm wondering if she maybe moved a little bit away from Quarantine because of all of the commotion with the hyenas. I thought perhaps what might have happened is if those hyenas managed to sniff out the fact that she might have had a carcass, because I think she was going to hunt last night. She looked like she was really being very, very patient in the area. I think maybe they managed to pick up on the noises or the smells, and they might have come and stolen a carcass from her, because we had a quick look in the trees. We couldn't find anything. And so she might have moved, and the rain might have washed all of her tracks away. But I don't think she's going to go too far. She did look very settled for 2 days on Quarantine. Maybe even more. She's so good at hiding that we might not have even noticed her, and she might have been there for a week. I'd like to think that we didn't miss her, but it's definitely a possibility. This is such a stunning area. It's a nice mix of open area, water, and tall leadwood trees. Candice, it really depends on the leopard and on the area that you're in. Because of the high leopard density of the Sabi Sands, the leopards here wouldn't have to move as far as the leopards in other areas which are less densely populated, because the territory sizes are going to be smaller, they're going to be overlapping with each other. But they can move a good few kilometers at night if they really want to. I think, I don't know how far the furthest a leopard has ever moved is, but it's probably close on maybe 10, 15, 20 kilometers, somewhere there. They can move very, very far. The same as lions, they can also move very far. I can hear the vehicles coming closer. This is quite exciting. That might actually be worth me repositioning a little bit just now, if they do carry on getting closer. But for now, we're actually just appreciating a little bit of the view. Oh, I can hear an impala alarm calling. Possibly seen the leopard. Seems as though the leopard might be coming closer. Let me reposition. I'm going to reverse and swing a little bit. You might see some game viewers coming past. It's just because they are here with the leopard. definitely looks like it's coming towards Gari Main. Doing a bit of an 8-point turn, everybody. A little bit of an 8-point turn. Actually heading up.
The captain slow it down.
For the first time, everyone, you might have saw my cameraman's thumb there that we were communicating with AFC. Don't know what happened to Tessa there. The dogs have gone very flat, and we're going to try and get closer, but Wendy's not starting. So this is all we can give you for now. And Marcel is on his way, and he's more than happy to be on his way because he gets to see dogs. Marcel works very hard and sometimes stuck in camp. But as soon as we can get Wendy moving, we absolutely will. I don't imagine they're going to stay completely flat, but I do believe Tessa's looking for a leopard. So if she gets lucky, that's going to be hyena, wild dog, and leopard on one drive. That's very impressive. And I know some of you really want to see Sutu. I really wanted to show you her. She's 100% here because I've been worried about Sutu. I've not seen her this entire stint. She's one that she's never really hung around the den too much. Oh, are we getting mobile? Because I can't follow you guys if you are. That's going to be a little bit tricky. So I will try and locate the hyenas. I imagine they're just lurking. They're doing what I do on boundary lines, lurking. They really are the most beautiful animals. And when they go flat, you could easily miss them. It's really their ears that give them away when they're lying down. Constantly on alert, little satellites. Satellite dishes, channeling the sound. And you know, it's really funny, at the start of drive, I said the impalas are starting. Right at the start, and they don't normally behave that way for hyenas. And I wonder if the dogs were there. Impala stays silent when it's dogs. There's no time. There's no time to stand an alarm call because the dogs will just come at you. And I saw them starting. I thought, that's really strange that they're starting for hyenas. I mean, hyenas do hunt 100%, but on quarantine, we see hyenas walk past the impalas all the time, and they don't do that. So either the dogs were there, or they could smell the dogs, or they were aware of the dogs, and they were starting to react. Julie, you're asking about the smell. Is it stronger due to the rain? I think you're meaning wet dog. I find it really strong anyway. It's a very rancid, acidic urine smell. It's urine based, but it's very, very rancid, and I find it really overpowering whenever I'm around dogs. Is it stronger because of the rain? I don't think so. I don't think so. But I'm sure if I got any closer, they will have that wet dog smell. And it's not a bad smell because it's wild dogs. There's a lovely attachment to that smell. It's just a really strong smell in the bush. For me, it's the strongest that I can pick up from, or pick up in my nostrils, other than scats. But I mean, that's not animal based, that's an excretion. mottled pattern. This one's very pale. Come on, Tessa, go get your leopard. I don't know which leopard it is, but we need to make this drive a winner. And if you think of hyenas and wild dogs, they're not similar in their social structure. But what is similar is the intricate nature of the social bonds. It's intricate if you think about wild dog packs because you have the alpha pair and no other individual in the pack reproduces. It's mind-blowing. Reproduction, estrous cycles, rises in testosterone is a natural part of at least a mammal life. How does that work? It's fascinating. There's a really interesting paper on it. It's quite heavy, but it is how does reproductive suppression work in wild dogs? How are they able to stop all the others mating? And sometimes they do mate, but generally speaking, it is just an effort by the alpha pair. How does that work? It's incredible when you dive into it, and maybe we can do that in just a little bit.
So we are trying to catch up with the leopard that was headed towards Twin Dams area. We're actually on the dam wall at the moment, and we thought we saw some movement through the brush. So we're just having a scan. We are hoping that we get to hear or see something that might tell us where the leopard is. But you can hear there's a lot of lovely birds calling. I don't hear any alarm calls. I can hear crested barbets. I can hear some of the weavers, some starlings, a few different birds, but none of them are alarming at the moment. So what I do want to do is just listen while we are scanning slowly. We're just looking for any signs of a white tail and movement through the grass. It is a lot more challenging because we can't off-road today. So we have to hope that we see it from the road. And here a few of the ground birds that are not sounding as happy, but they are also very noisy with each other when they're being territorial. There's definitely some more rain coming. But while we sit, let's just have a listen. Take a little bit of a silent moment. I really am hoping we get to see a glimpse of this leopard, but we'll see. Maybe it's already decided to move off to another area. So So other than the vehicle's positioning, not much has changed here at Twin Dams. We are still scanning for our leopard. It seems like it was coming towards Gari Main and may have crossed, but we are not 100% sure, so we are still just scanning. We're listening and watching. We haven't seen any movement yet. There's a crested barbet calling in the background, which has barely taken a single breath the entire time we've been here. So that is the perfect time for a leopard to be moving, especially in this area, because there's a lot of dense brush, but also the pan systems, the drainage lines, and the tall trees. It's the perfect place to be moving, and it's the perfect time to be moving. We've just started with a very light drizzle again, and it looks like there's a lot more rain coming. So it is the perfect time for a leopard to be moving around, especially if it's looking for food or it's had a kill and is now looking for some water. So we definitely thought we saw movement along here earlier, but we have not had a confirmation yet. Trish, yeah, I think I haven't seen Thandi in a while either. I'd love to see Thandi today. I mean, this area, it could be Thandi, it could be Maribs, it could be Shasha, even Lunga. There's so many different possibilities in this area. We're not sure which leopard it was. We didn't get a confirmation if it was male or female and which leopard it might be. So we are just hoping that it decides to come down towards Twin Dams or towards the Mulawati, and then we might get a view. The dam itself is actually very quiet. We don't have a hippo. It seems like the bird life that's usually around the edge is quite shy today because it's so wet. But there you can see those clouds building that I was talking about. We've definitely got a lot more rain coming. But what a lovely peaceful morning. Well, listen to all of those birds. It's because the drainage line is right here. They're calling from the fringe of the drainage line. I can just imagine a leopard coming down to the side of the dam now, sneaking in from the brush. That would absolutely make my day. Especially since we know there has been a carcass in the area. There's always a lot of interest as to which leopard it is, how much it's eaten, what it's looking like. Samantha, I agree. It is a beautiful morning. And it's always nice, especially after we've had so much rain. 35 millimeters is a lot of rain. And we had more than that. And that really does, it really does make a difference because everything just has so much life. The morning after, everything is nice and calm. The roads are smoothed out. The birds are happy because they're drying off. It always holds a lot of promise. We finally spotted one of our bird characters. The blacksmith lapwing. Looking as though it's still trying to dry those feathers off, busy preening at the moment. I definitely don't blame it. It can be quite tough for birds to stay dry, because even if you do manage to find a tree to roost in, which is in any event unlikely with the blacksmith lapwing, it would be hiding under a bush on the floor, the drops will get bigger and bigger coming through the leaves of the tree because they are all condensed together. And so you get these massive drops coming down, and it can really be quite a problem for birds. So I'm sure the lapwing is just grateful that it's eased up a little bit and it's a bit of a light drizzle at the moment and not a thunderous downpour like we had last night. It felt a bit like a cyclone coming in. The angle of the rain and the intense wind really took us by surprise. What can you see, Owen? Okay, we are hoping that we managed to spot our leopard. I am going to move towards Triple M from here, so take it slow along the boundary. But while I start heading in that direction, let's head over to Lauren, who has found her wild dogs again.
Luckily, the dogs haven't moved. Marcel did come to have a look and try to start her, but Wendy is not starting. So we are in trouble if they do move, or if the rain gets heavier. But for now, we can make do. I think she just got too wet yesterday, and she needs to dry out, but the problem is, it's raining. But we will do our best. Look at them just lying in the rain. Can you imagine? I don't know where the hyenas have disappeared to. They only get in there. Okay. They only get excited when the dogs get active, and naturally they're in a bit of a cuddle puddle right now. Cold. It is really cold. I'm shivering. I'm just going to close my box, everyone. Close the sides down. That's the rain starting to blow in from the sides here. Smooth maneuver. We're just closing our little car up a little bit further. Maybe this is the water we need. The vegetation's flourished, but the insect life certainly hasn't. Yeah, so rain's starting to get really heavy. Poor doggies. That's okay. Thank you. Okay, got a bit of a shield. They're probably going to go and seek shelter in the vegetation or hunt. Life goes on in the rain. Or huddle even more closer together. Yeah, guys, it's way too wet. We're going to call it from Wendy's side. Marcello is going to tow us home somehow, and we will be back out if it dries up from Wendy's side.
Okay, so you will hear some strange noises in the background. We are currently just covering up. We need to put our rain gear on. We have got the roof on, but with the angle of the rain and it getting a lot harder, we've had to bring the sides of the rain roof down and the back and cover all our equipment in the front as well. So you might hear a little bit of strange movements, strange sounds, but it's just us protecting all of our equipment. So we can still hear some really lovely bird calls here at Twin Dams. We are still watching to see if the leopard might come along, but I'm actually very soon going to move and head towards Triple M just to see if there are any tracks or anything on that side of the animals coming in. So I haven't heard any new alarm calls or anything. So what I'm thinking is that the leopard may have slipped through the thick brush at some point and gone fairly undetected. So I don't think we're going to find that leopard today, but I am going to go towards the area where it was moving and just see what we can find. Quite unusual to see 3 blacksmith lapwings together. Very unusual. I wonder if this is possibly a little family. They do all look like full-grown adult lapwings, so maybe it's 2 pairs and one's just off to the side and they're interacting on the edge. So I am actually just about to start moving off towards Gowrie Main and then from there towards Triple M. You can see the clouds are getting a lot heavier looking and a lot darker. We have put our rain covers down on the side because we are starting to get a little bit drenched. And so if you do hear any strange noises, it's either the roof or me still trying to cover the odd piece of equipment in the front here. So far, no further luck on our leopard. No further luck. We haven't even heard alarm calling. We heard one impala alarm call once, but obviously it decided the threat was not as imminent as it thought, and so they just carried on feeding. We're not 100% sure which direction the leopard went in. It went into a very dense thicket, and because we can't off-road, we couldn't follow from the dense thicket. So, unfortunately, we don't know which leopard it was, male or female. We just know that it was here very close to Twin Dams. So my theory is it might be the same leopard that had a kill in the Milwaukee drainage line. Some blacksmith lapwings flying over and making quite the noise. Yeah, I definitely haven't heard any alarm calls coming from here. We are slowly still scanning the banks as well. I just want to give it a few minutes before we leave because patience really is key. And there's so many beautiful areas for a leopard to be hiding here. I don't think that it's going to go too far. So I'm hoping we might still be lucky. Okay, so while I continue to cover up my vehicle and get us out of the rain, let's have a look at some of our highlights from the past. If the rain lightens up, then we will be back out and with you again a little bit later.
Eco Training Pridlands. At the moment we're watching a mixed group of animals busy grazing as well as browsing, and they include both impala, kudu as well as zebra. And it's not often that we get the opportunity to actually view kudu from the vehicle, as they tend to be quite skittish and move away from the vehicles very quickly. At the moment, it does appear as if this kudu is actually feeding grass, but it's actually not. It's actually going for a small amount of shrubs, as if they're actually browsers, which means that they feed on leaf material, unlike the zebra and the impala, which feeds mostly at grass. In the case of impala, they can also fix over to leaf material in the later parts over here when there's no sufficient grasses around, or when the grasses aren't as palatable as what they are at the moment. Occasionally I have actually seen zebra also taking leaf material, but it's maybe once or twice in a 22-year career as a guide that I've actually seen this behavior. It was only in times of drought when there was absolutely nothing else to eat that I have seen them doing so. Come back to the kudu, the one that we have in front of us. This is a female, and as you notice, you'll see that they actually have no horns compared to the males. And this is typical of woodland antelope species, where the females lack horns because horns actually do get in the way. Also in the case of kudu, baboons that are unhappy about something. I'm not sure what that's up to. You can just see how all of the animals then changed in their behavior when they suddenly noticed the baboons alarming in the distance. That's most likely more a dispute between two big males that were running down the road rather than that of a predator that might be disturbing them. Coming back to the kudu, we'll also notice typically of woodland antelope species is that they've got incredibly big ears. And when you do operate in thick wooded areas, you must be able to actually detect your potential threat by means of hearing, as sight is quite limited in these environments. So in South Africa, we only have one species of kudu, and this is known as the greater kudu. That's also our second heaviest of antelope species when it comes to the bulls. They can gain weights of approximately 316 kilograms. Also the antelope species with the longest horns, even if it does appear that species such as Gemsbok have longer horns, although they're straight. It doesn't take in consideration the length that the kull of the horns have in kudu. Now, if I remember, the record of kudus is just over almost close to 1.8 meters now in length for a kudu horn. In general, we also find some areas where kudu becomes persecuted, that they become very secretive, and they only become active at night. Good morning, Daniel. I don't often see kudu in association with zebra and impala. It's more often we'll find actually that zebra, impala and wildebeest will feed in association. And most likely it's an open area. There is a number of shrubs that they can feed on, which they are feeding on, and at the same time they're just enjoying the safety in numbers which these other animals are providing by having more eyes, less chance that it's going to be you that's going to be more individuals in the group, less chance for you going to be taken, and more eyes to spot a potential predator. There's got a few more kudus that are now coming out of the bush, moving towards us as well. It's all females. Within the next few months, normally from late April, May, we'll start actually noticing that the kudu bulls start developing incredibly thick necks, and they'll very soon start fighting one another for access to females. And quite often they become very complacent when they are in the rutting period from May right through to April, May to August. And it's sometimes that they're so focused on females that they don't really notice what's going on around them, and they often end up running into trouble. In one of the areas where I worked, there was a group of lions which we refer to as the mountain pride, and they often used to take kudu bulls down at that specific part of the year, as they were way more alert than the females were. One of the things that always fascinates me about kudu is how they can so effectively use the ability to freeze and just blend into the environment and disappear within seconds.
Not right now. Wow, look at that! Jeffrey, I got your comment just on time. Look at this! You're right, Jeffrey, you're saying don't stop. Yesterday, I made a great last minute find, and look! Wowza! You do not often see marabou storks here. Yes, we have them, but they're not common. And here, we've got one right on top of a dead tree. Amazing! You see them a lot in the Mara, and when I was in Ethiopia, we were in a town called Hawasha, and there are so many marabou storks that they have actually got specific areas marked off for the storks, and they've also got zebra crossings. I don't want to call it a pedestrian crossing because the pedestrians are the storks. They've literally designed special crossings in the road just for the storks, and the storks walk across the crossing. They make the cars stop just like people to get to the other side. It's amazing. Anyway, wowza, this is a very cool find. One of the best photos I ever took, one of the best sightings I ever had of a marabou stork was in the Masai Mara. And it was a kill made by, I think, the Salt Licks. I'm pretty sure it was the Salt Lake Pride. And the North Clan got it naturally, and all the scavengers were present. Marabou stork, jackal, and lappet-faced vultures, and they were all having an absolute hilarious time together. The jackal was just trying to bite the marabou stork's wing to annoy it. The lappet-face was waiting until the jackal was annoying the stork, and none of them were paying attention to swoop in, and I'm sure some of you will remember it. It was on a live drive. It was hilarious. Owen loves dad jokes. I've got a dad joke for you, Owen. Do you want to hear it? Dr. Rocky Balboa, thank you. It's a very nice find. I love them. So, Owen, why do storks stand on one leg? If they didn't, they would fall over. I'm not sure how authentic Owen's laugh was there. I think he's just putting it on for me. But anyway, that was terrible. I'm embarrassed.
What about my flat earth one from yesterday? Tell them that one.
Huh?
Tell them the flat earth one.
Uh-huh.
Okay, so
You need to speak louder for the microphone to pick you up.
70% of the earth is covered by water and it's not carbonated. Therefore the earth is flat.
Oh dog. Where did you get that one from? The book of dad jokes. Viewers, don't even start. We're not going into the realm of dad jokes right now. Goodness, we've had many of drives where we literally just talk about dad jokes. Those are the quiet days. But sorry, Marabou, you're not getting the attention that you deserve right now, are you? Izzy, I think you're just being nice. I don't know whether you're talking about mine or Owen's, but I'm going to think it's mine. Owen just said that at the same time. Well, Izzy, we both say thank you. Oh dear. Anyway, back to the beautiful bird in hand. I wasn't gifted with much in terms of looks. They are said to be one of the most unattractive birds, which is a shame, and I don't agree. I think they're unique looking, but that's the sort of general consensus that they are one of the ugliest birds. They look like grumpy old men, which is a shame. And naturally, they are scavengers, and you will find them lurking on the outskirts of human civilization, landfill sites, trying to scavenge for anything that they can find. But I do believe that in Arabic, I'm sure it's Arabic, marabou can translate to hermit-like, which is fascinating. But in different languages, you can pull out different meanings using different words. But I don't think in any language across the world, the marabou storks are known for their looks. Remarkable all the same, though. Beauty is in the eye of the beholder, my mother always used to say. Oh, this is such a great last minute find. I feel like I need to go to quarantine now and find some more. Amazing action here. Amazing. Hyenas running everywhere. White-backed vultures being numerous and frantic as always, hissing. Hooded vultures staying on the outskirts. This is where they killed the buffalo. Can you believe it? We've always tended to avoid Sydney's dam because of the signal issues. This area, just as long as I keep my vehicle still, we can make it work. But otherwise, because of all the issues, we don't tend to traverse this area too much. Look at it. Haven't had action like this in ages. I love vulture sightings. This must have been when the carcass was. They're tearing, they're crunching, they're pulling. I love vultures. They get very aggressive with one another as well. The white-backed are the most common and the most numerous, especially at a kill site. Can you hear them? In comes the hooded, in comes the hooded, incoming. Whoa, what a landing. The hooded waits until all the whitebacks are gone and comes in. Look at that. We're just bumbling. It's very important for me in the morning to keep moving. And sometimes what's really nice to do, now this is not an attractive road, it's an access road with a power line. Sometimes it's nice just to, because we've got height, to actually just use your binos or the camera and search the road. I've actually found a leopard this way. It's really easy to spot elephants this way. Because many animals love to also use the road. So if you just gain a bit of height, you can see the entire length of the road. Well, not entire length, but you can see far. And if something's walking on the road, you're going to pick it up. Nothing so far, I'm afraid. But you see what I mean? You can really see that the birds are really calling now, and it's so beautiful. So let's just take a moment to appreciate this landscape and the beauty of the scene in front of us. Isn't it just stunning? It's already getting very hot, which might make it a bit tricky to find mobile animals. We've repositioned, and it actually works in our favor anyway, signal wise, and we get much better views of the elephants. And I've mentioned this quite a few times, and it didn't come from me, it came from Rexon, but he said they're not destroyers, they are creators, and I really just love that. It's all about changing your perspective. And Rexon does a lot of the work here now that Juma's changed the structure a little. Rexon does a lot of the work at protecting the marulas and putting the sort of wire mesh around all the trees. And although you don't want to prevent elephants from getting their food, there's also a sort of mechanism and algorithm behind it, if you like, where he knows the land better than anyone. I mean, Wrexham was brought up here. This is his home. And he understands the movements of the elephants, why they're ring barking, what trees they do ring bark, and how to selectively choose specific trees to protect that'll still protect not only those trees, but the integrity of the land around it. And that's a lot of his work now. He does that. And it just deters the elephant. It doesn't harm them. It doesn't hurt them. Their food is plentiful. We're not in a drought. We're in the most lush, giving season with water everywhere. So they don't need the bark. They don't need to do that. And that's why we do protect them in the area. But they're not destroyers. They're creators. They create new things in so many ways. They're the architects, engineers, changing the land, not to destroy it, but to create something new. And it's such a beautiful, beautiful way of looking at it. Megan Edwards, you're seeing such pretty visuals. That's all down to OD, not me. He's the one with the skill behind the camera. I guess the elephants are helping. I mention this all the time, but Owen just reminded me that a lot of guides will about identifying the matriarch. And I think some guides are a bit too quick. So, that's the matriarch. But really, there's a lot more to it than just being the oldest female and therefore the largest. That's not always the case. And in that beautiful book that I always recommend, Beyond Words by Carl Safina, it's broken into elephants, orcas, and wolves. And it's wonderful. It's quite heavy at points, but it's wonderful. And it really does go into great detail about elephant societies, how they communicate, how they structure themselves. And it's all about social units. Basically, the matriarch isn't always just the biggest female, and you've got to be really careful at presuming who it is. Sometimes it is obvious, but really, when it comes to science, you've obviously got to be very conclusive. And in identifying the matriarch, you should always wait, you should always observe. How you really are going to identify is not because she's the biggest female, no, is by social interactions. You need to just watch and see who they all gravitate around. Who are they reacting to? Who are they responding to? Who's the one that's sort of keeping her eye on the rest of the herd? She might not always be the big female at the front. She might just be that slightly smaller yet older female right at the back observing everybody. So sometimes it is obvious, but I think some people are just a bit too quick to see that's a matriarch. You've really got to watch who they're responding to, who they are gravitating around. After all, the matriarch is key to everybody's survival. She is the one that is going to lead the herd from success to success. She's responsible for the reproductive success of the whole herd. Yes, it's the oldest elephant, so therefore should be the biggest, but it's just not always the case, and you should be careful when you're trying to identify the matriarch. Involved in the herd than any other, but it might not be immediately obvious. Calves will always be with their mothers, and the matriarch herself will have calves, but she will be involved in the herd and the decisions that are made more than any other individual. Sometimes in kinship groups, or if there's been a loss, a death of a matriarch, a new one will arise. It's not always the right one, and it's not always the oldest one, and it's not always the correct one. And what I mean by that is the book Beyond Words goes into great detail about how each individual elephant has its own personality. We can see that. And not all females are just destined to be the matriarch. It's just not always, that's just not who they're destined to be. Just like we all have our own destiny. Some of them have not got what it takes to be a matriarch. And that's why sometimes the wrong female will arise, take that position. She's a bit too young maybe, with not enough knowledge, or she just wasn't meant to be a matriarch. And at the end of the day, she won't lead the herd to success, and it can be so detrimental, even fatal to some elephants. I think that's that herd moving off now, I'm afraid. I can try and see if we can catch up with others around the corner. I've gone off into the drainage line. Okay, OD, let's do a bit of a U-turn here. Are we good? The cameraman acts as your mirrors, your side mirrors, because you can't see anything behind you.
Good afternoon and welcome back to Eco Training Pridelands. We started off our afternoon with actually doing some tracking before we went live onto show. We spent some half an hour looking for a specific lion. However, we thought that he actually moved into adjacent property. Luckily, he did come back. He most likely came back to come and look for a drink. We're just so happy to actually be able to locate on him. It's also interesting that he's actually moved in quite a warm part of the day, as we generally don't find lions moving in the heat of the day. We also will notice that he's also quite often yawning, which possibly indicates that he's going to get up. That's precisely what he's doing. Quite often when cats start yawning, they're actually fueling their muscles with oxygen so that they can actually start moving. I'm just going to reposition the vehicle and see what he's getting up to. Most likely, as he is a territorial male, he might start scent marking this, and it's precisely what he did. He walked up to the closest tree, turned his bum towards the tree and sprayed urine against it. Quite often that is also followed by scuffing. So we are in a sighting with a number of other vehicles, as it's a shared sighting, so you might hear different voices. You also might communicate with other vehicles. Just wanted to get permission, but it's fine that we can go ahead. So when we do share sightings, we do it on the basis that the person that locates it first is the one that can spend the most time with it. And we'll also get a second and a third vehicle in, so that we don't unnecessarily pressurize the animal. Once one of those vehicles move out, then we'll make space for the first standby, and thereafter the second standby when another vehicle has moved off. One of the things I do find particularly funny about lions is that they can swim particularly well, but for some reason they don't like getting their feet wet. You can see he's actually focused on walking into the center of that muddy area rather than walking directly through the two little ruts that's been created in the middle of the road, on the side of the road. There we go, there's busy spraying again. them, it's very important that they do spray their territory regularly. It's not the only way that they demarcate territories. They also do so by means of interdigital glands between the feet and also by rubbing their cheeks onto objects. And this just tells other male lions that they have to stay out of their territory, otherwise they will face the consequences. In this case, it's only a single male that runs the territory over here. If there is a group of males that potentially can come over here, they're very likely to actually displace him. It's also interesting that females actually prefer males in terms of coalition males rather than a single male, as if they know that there's less chance that they're going to lose their young when there's a territorial takeover and the cubs might be killed. Just going to position the vehicle over here. Absolutely stunning light at the moment with this last little bit of light, and it's actually just lifting those beautiful colors on the lion's mane out as well. Let's just listen to him. He's busy contact calling them. Oh, that's absolutely awesome. So Mundas, good afternoon and welcome back to the show. And I just want to quickly answer your question. Can they move freely? Yes, they can move freely into the Balule, and the Balule is also open to the Kruger National Park. Quickly taking a nap and regaining some energy. Something bit him there. I think it's all those flies around his face which is hindering him.
So I've just arrived at Treehouse Dam. Doesn't look like there are any larger animals around, but there's definitely a lot of bird life. You can hear some birds in the background. And I just thought I'd spend a few minutes here just listening and watching, because it is so beautiful here. Have a look at those cloud formations. It's just so dramatic. So I just want to listen for a little bit. I'm hoping to hear sounds of maybe branches breaking or elephants or buffaloes, anything like that. But also unusual bird calls. So let's have a listen for a minute. I can't even hear red-billed buffalo weavers, and this is where they nest. You can see the big nest there in the tree. There's no activity from the buffalo weavers. But I can hear other birds. I can see the odd one flitting around. I think the weather's actually giving everybody a bit of confusion at the moment, because it's so hot and it's going so quickly between fully overcast and very, very hot sun, with quite a strong wind this afternoon compared to this morning. I think the animals know there's a weather change happening. There might be some rain, and so they are maybe a little bit more shy this afternoon, and that's totally valid. I completely understand it. So we will see what happens as the afternoon goes on.
Good morning and welcome back to Eco Training Islands. I'm talking very softly because we've got a group of dwarf mongoose in front of us, and they do disturb quite quickly at times if you are talking either too loud or make sudden rapid movements. What you'll also notice is that there's a red-billed hornbill that's sitting very close by to them, and he's been following them as if they are disturbing insects. And they often do so, and in a mutualistic relationship, we also find that this relationship extends to yellow-billed hornbills. And I've seen yellow-billed hornbill actually doing this also in the Kalahari, following meerkats, which is one of the close relatives to a dwarf mongoose. So in Southern Africa, out of all the mongoose species, there's only 4 of them that are social. And the dwarf mongoose, being our smallest of the mongoose species, is one of those 4 social species. And in this case, we also find that the group is led by an alpha male and female, and the alpha female in this case is also 30% larger than the others. There's very few species of animals where I know that we have a matriarchal society, and that also includes elephants. Let's see what they're going to get up to. They also tend to be very, very curious. Actually, when it comes to these little predators, they're also incredibly effective little hunters. And I've actually once or twice seen them taking small little mammals together, and that means little mice. And in the past also, where I watched 4 of them actually pulling a bat out from underneath a log and killing it and devouring it. I reckon they're as effective as the African wild dogs that we saw this morning. One of the things that we'll also notice with them is that they move around within a territory, and what they will do is they try and move through their territory on approximately 27-day average. And the reason why is that's the duration of what their scent lasts. And if they don't demarcate their territory by means of scent, that will tell other groups of dwarf mongoose that the area is not occupied, and then they will try and take that territory over. There's a little trick that I was taught by my trackers many years ago. If you do want to get the attention of a dwarf mongoose, you can just imitate a call that sounds something like this. Let's see if it works. We've got quite a wide range of different calls that indicate different things, but this seems to be one of the contact calls that they use, and already 2 of them is coming a little bit closer. Let's see what they get up to. When it comes to imitating calls of animals, I do believe that it's fair game if you can attract animals such as a wild dog or a lion or a dwarf mongoose by imitating the call. However, you should never be using electronic methods actually of calling up animals. And you also should be doing it very, very sparingly when you are going to imitate the calls, as you don't want to upset the animals and alter their behavior in any other manner. A few years ago, we actually noticed a guy that was playing a call of a lion from his vehicle on his mobile phone, and that infuriated the 2 big male lions that were moving down the road, and they thought that there was an intruder in their territory and that the intruder was inside their vehicle. So you have to really, really be careful with doing things like that, as it's not fair on the animal either. When it also comes to playing calls for birds, as a bird guide, we were taught to also use calls very sparingly. We also were taught to play them very soft. And in general, when we do play those calls, we will play them roughly at 20 seconds intervals. And after the 3rd attempt of playing it, we stop playing. It either means that the bird is not going to respond or the bird is not there. Quite often we find that birders tend to overplay in areas, which leads to the birds no longer responding to that call either. A few other important things when it does come to using electronic methods of calling up birds is also not to do it in a breeding season and when they are close to nest, as this can often break up a pair or that's busy nesting in that area or force the male to move off. And the reason why we play those calls incredibly soft is that male can think that it's a much more dominant and more intimidating male that's calling. Something else that we were also taught in terms of call-ups when it comes to birds is when you are playing specifically for owls, you always start off with your small owls and then progressively move up towards your larger owl species, which you can find in that area. And the reason is the smaller owls often are predated on by the larger owls, and they will be intimidated by the sounds of that more dominant and larger owl species. But for me, I personally prefer to imitate bird calls myself and rather see if I can call them out. Sometimes what I will do also is, if I can't imitate that specific species, I'll simply use the calls of a pearl-spotted owlet. And by imitating the owl, you also mainly see that there's a number of birds that will come and investigate to see what is going on. I also will use some general alarm calls, which just sounds like something like shh, 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 and that also. Good afternoon and welcome to Eco Training Prudence. At the moment, we're looking at a wasp that has just caught a bee in midair. And now we're watching it as it's going to slowly start eating it. We're also going to just want to watch if it's actually going to eat it or if it's actually going to lay an egg inside it and then deposit it somewhere else. And we often do find that a lot of wasp species will actually lay their eggs in live hosts which they've paralyzed. So my name is JP LaRue, and behind the camera we've got BK. We're just going to try and zoom back onto that wasp before it disappears, because it's such a fascinating thing that's happening over here. So now we're wondering, do we have parasitism that's taking place, or actually a normal form of predation that's taking place? When it does come to bees and wasps, they're actually very closely related to one another. They belong into the same order. So let's see what they get up to. One of the things that I do find quite interesting is that many of the wasp species will actually parasitize other wasps and their eggs and larvae. And in that case, we refer to them as hyperparasitoids. But we also find that they will go for caterpillars as well as spiders. And one of the large spider hunting wasps that we do find around here often go for incredibly large spiders, such as baboon spiders. And I've actually seen them in the past dragging them out of a hole after that they've actually paralyzed them with their sting, and then dragging them several hundred meters to a hole that has been already created, where they will dump them in and then leave them there. And then that live host will start being a food provision for the larvae of that wasp that then from there on will develop. Some species of wasp also has very sensitive receptors on the feet, and they actually can detect vibrations underneath the wood. And they specifically go for wood-boring beetles. And what I do find fascinating with those species is that they can actually push the other positive through that piece of bark into that wood borer larvae and then lay the egg inside it. Another thing that I do find particularly fascinating about them is that certain plant species have learned to actually evolve a strategy where they utilize wasps actually to get rid of caterpillars. And what these plants do is that they will actually create the scent of that specific species of caterpillar when those caterpillars start attacking them, and then automatically large numbers of these wasps will be attracted to the plant to come and deal with these caterpillars. However, in most cases, caterpillars feeding on a plant is not always a negative association. We also see that quite often they form a large amount of waste directly underneath the plant, which is referred to as frass, and that gets washed back into the soil and gets reutilized again by the plant.
Can you hear them? In comes the hoodie, in comes the hoodie, incoming. Oh, what a landing. The hoodie waits until all the white backs are gone and comes in. Look at that. Hooded are the smallest, that's why. The lions are on Sydney's dam wall, so we will try and give you a view, but naturally it's not our property. We don't traverse Buffelshoek anymore. Very sad. Those were some of my happiest days with WildEarth, traversing Buffelshoek. There are some happy hyenas running around, I'll tell you. I actually mentioned this the other day on Live Drive. It's been a while since I've had a sighting of frenzy at a carcass. I didn't catch that name, I'm afraid, but breakfast for everyone, even the lions, absolutely. And that's why these guys are so incredible. They just clean everything up, along with the hyenas. Clean it right up. Are there any Ngala on this side, or are they all at the dam?
The last one finished.
Okay.
Now by the dam. Sorry for that. Can you go on?
Yeah, we don't go that side anymore, but we can view from the cut line. Is it the Talamatis? Okay. We never used to get signal here, so this is a winner. Thank you, guys. Okay, it is the Talamatis after all. They're on the dam wall, so we will turn around, but I just thought this was incredible to see the hyenas and the vultures and just the activity that happens. It's amazing. Did anyone get an idea on that other hyena? Kaka was one of them. Amazing. Okay, we'll try and maneuver to get the lions before the end of show. Let's do this, OD. Oh, look at that. All but nothing. My goodness.
So I've just arrived at Treehouse Dam. Doesn't look like there are any larger animals around, but there's definitely a lot of bird life. You can hear some birds in the background. And I just thought I'd spend a few minutes here just listening and watching, because it is so beautiful here. Have a look at those cloud formations. It's just so dramatic. So I just want to listen for a little bit. I'm hoping to hear sounds of maybe branches breaking, or elephants or buffaloes, anything like that. But also unusual bird calls. So let's have a listen for a minute. I can't even hear red-billed buffalo weavers, and this is where they nest. You can see the big nest there in the tree. There's no activity from the buffalo weavers. But I can hear other birds. I can see the odd one flitting around. I think the weather's actually giving everybody a bit of confusion at the moment, because it's so hot and it's going so quickly between fully overcast and very, very hot sun, with quite a strong wind this afternoon compared to this morning. I think the animals know there's a weather change happening. There might be some rain, and so they are maybe a little bit more shy this afternoon, and that's totally valid. I completely understand it. So we will see what happens as the afternoon goes on.
the best find of today. The shoe. Doesn't look rather comfortable, but we see you. Isn't this gorgeous? Are you just sunbathing, chilling, living the chill life? This is obviously a rock monitor. We definitely see the water monitors or the Nile monitors a lot more than we see the rock. But you can see this is where they hide. In little holes and crevices in trees. And then they just pop themselves out to sunbathe. You look very relaxed up there. I'm rather jealous. So stunning. Now, they are actually incredible swimmers, the rocks. They're just not as... Sorry, this is a beautiful shot of the Ellie. We're also surrounded by Ellies. I don't know. Oh, this is also magical. I don't know what to talk about. These are the Ellies that popped up from the drainage. I thought I would be able to get them. Hello. Buffalo thorn delish. The thorns and the hooks clearly don't put you off. The leaves are very nutritious. Even for humans. Sometimes I snack on them in camp when I'm walking by. Yeah, I can see why you like them. I tried to fry them up one time. There's a delicacy in the Maldives called telefai, and they use leaves of a specific tree, very small leaves, and they dry them out in the sun, then they fry them in garlic, lemon, and salt and oil, and they're the best things in the world. I introduced Davi to them, and okay, someone's taking a tantrum. Anyway, I thought maybe I could do the same with buffalo thorn, but it didn't work. Everybody around the table, James Henry pretended to like them, but no, I know they were lying. Might get a 2-shot here, Odie. If the Ellie doesn't scare away our little lizard. There you go, there's a lizard. Look at the claws. Look at the two of them together. It's coming very close to the car now to get the vegetation. Oh, they're all coming. They're all here, Owen. You see the youngsters? Hazel, you're saying you love how chilled that rock monitor is. I know. Probably not got enough energy to do anything else, but so chilled. Hello, guys. Are you going to go to Gary Dam for a drink? I really think you should. You know, these elephants actually might scare away the monitor. They're right underneath them now. What a cool sighting. was a bit dramatic. Very dramatic. No, not at all, Susan. Not at all. You have no need to. It's not anything that elephants need to pay attention to. Owen, 12 o'clock. Hello. Got an itchy leg. Beautiful girl. I can see you having a sniff of us. You're not very subtle, but that's okay. I hope I don't smell bad. But Susan, not at all. He's watching them. But they don't have to bother with his presence at all. They're all coming here. There's obviously some delicious grass. Underneath this quarry. Are you smelling us and you think that we can't see you because we can? Look at those nostrils. That's incredible. They're huge. Okay, that was just a chance to come and smell us. It was fake. Pretending I'm going to eat. I'm going to hide behind this quarry. They won't see me, and I'm going to smell them. We've got more coming on. We've got a nice calf and mother in front. 12 o'clock. Some more coming. A young boy approaching from the right. Here we go, here we go. Hello, boy. Marianne, you're saying... Did you get that, Owen? What sweet elephants. Very sweet. This is actually one of the nicest elephant sightings I've actually had in a while. They're just so relaxed. Been in the drainage. Eating all the delicious food. Our monitor lizard's fallen asleep. We'll show you him in just a moment because the elephants are going to disappear. This is pretty special. And we spotted this herd solely based on vegetation moving. We didn't actually see an elephant for a while. We just saw the trees going boing, 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 boing. I think that's the best views of the Ellie's gone. But Mr. Rock Monitor is still here. Did you enjoy that? I did. It's so cute, you know, you wouldn't think that reptiles would be cute, but they absolutely are. What an absolutely wonderful sighting that was.
So we found a giraffe, big male. And quite nice just to sit here, and also you'll be able to hear the tail swishing every now and then. I think he's just gonna hopefully end up feeding right next to us. Actually looks so cool with the clouds behind the giraffe. He's eating from a guarri tree, but I think mostly what he might be after are the little fruits. I mean, I was complaining about ticks, but this guy is just littered in it. And all the folds. So now, try to turn around, follow the giraffe for a little while. Luckily, he feels like walking on the road. Very elegant way of walking. So quite quiet now when they walk.
Well, we received a surprise visit from an unexpected cat.
I haven't been actually able to see much of his face, but I have a suspicion this is Shasha, and it seems like he got lucky making a kill sometime during the day. He's managed to put a big female impala up a tree, and he's busy chewing it on a marula tree, just after we were saying and wishing that hopefully we would be able to see him before the end of our stint, because I really like him as a leopard. It's pretty cool, and he's doing all sorts of balancing up there. It must have been quite an effort to put the impala up there, but obviously if it is him, then we can say Sibuyi, his mom, has taught him well as to what to do to get kills out of the ground and out of reach of hyenas. As we know, the hyena population on Juma is quite a strong one, with the clan being fairly large and putting pressure on animals such as the leopards when they make kills and so on. So it's pretty cool to be able to catch up with him. I suspect this is what the vast majority of the animals are doing. They're feeding or they're eating on something, because when we have big storms like what we did yesterday, it's really good hunting opportunities for them. So happy to see that one of the young males actually managed to get something, which is quite impressive. It doesn't seem like he's eaten a lot. I don't know from the other side, because we didn't find him. One of the other Juma vehicles found him. It seems, I don't know if he has managed to open the stomach, or if he's just fed on the back a little bit, which could also be the option. Very cool. I haven't seen a leopard with a kill up a tree for a while now. Huh. Very exciting times to spend an afternoon, and also to find a cat that is not asleep. Always works out. Now, all we have to do is wonder where Darkmane actually is, because I wouldn't be surprised that he pops out here somewhere if he were to be close by. Oh, that Darkmane can be a scavenger, and he's also quite something. But a lot of different animals like Darkmane and the hyenas, they would likely hear the crunching of the bones. Now that it's a little bit cooler, the sound also travels further. So although he's got the kill up there, other animals might be warned or might find out that he's got a kill here. So something like Molowati, perhaps, if he were to come here, maybe he would try his luck and steal the kill from him. Darkmane really wanted to. I suppose he could even climb that tree, although I feel like that's a bit of a high and tall tree for him. But I've seen lions climb trees before, maybe not such tall trees, but they've tried.
That's the one that is bearing here. Yeah.
I don't think he's wedged this impala the best possible way, but I do think that it's a bit of a tricky one. And if he's not careful, he might drop it, and in which case, if he drops it, then he's going to have to put it all the way back up. And he's feeding quite quickly. I don't know, maybe he's trying to get everything out of the way, trying to feed as much as possible.
You must join us as a tree vehicle. Yeah, because another WildEarth mover, I saw someone is coming this side.
I missed the update, Finofi. What have you got there?
Yeah, yes, Shasha. Lady is joining me. I think what meeting is waiting. It's gonna be a full rock.
Copy, but no WildEarth station there.
Look at that tail going and flicking. Okay. Ooh. Sheena, it is quite amazing the way that they carry and move the kills up in the trees. But I'm a little bit concerned, because I don't think he's wedged it properly, and I mean, he's got his weight on part of the stomach, so he's holding it in there, or not the stomach, or sort of the back, but if he's not careful, he might just drop it, which means that he'll have to put it all the way up there. So I'm not sure, does he even have the back legs? It's a bit of contrast that we're seeing. We'll try to reposition the vehicle. Oh no, the legs are there, but they're bent. I'm not sure why he thinks this was the best way to put it up there. Maybe there was a pressure from another predator, and that's why he's decided to put it up here. Maybe he got really excited that he got an entire impala for himself. But I think maybe what we're going to try to do is then eventually go around and see if we can get a view from the other side, just to see what the condition of the carcass is. Maybe if we can get the sun not to be just behind us, maybe we'll get a bit of a even better look.
He's it's quite funny the way that he's there, because he's not on the biggest branch, and he's just decided to put this impala in a branch that doesn't look the sturdiest, so it's quite funny. But I'm very happy he got a kill, because I know when Lauren, and you, Owen, wasn't it? When you were with her, you guys had him the other day. He was trying to hunt, and I think he just missed something at the dam wall. And then, obviously, yesterday, wherever it is that he went, he didn't catch anything, because this kill looks pretty fresh. I'm pretty sure that it was made sometime today. It doesn't seem like he's eaten a lot of it. And just also judging by his stomach and the flanks of his sides, I don't think he's eaten too much. He's almost like furiously trying to open it up. I think maybe let me try to reposition, see if we can get a different angle, and maybe we'll be able to see better what's happening or how much of it he's actually eaten. Does that work, Owen? Now that we've managed to come and angle our view a little bit more, we can see that he actually he's just taken the stomach out, and I think it fell on the ground a couple of moments ago, because we just heard this very loud thump. So I think he's actually gotten lucky, and he's made the kill sometime during the day. Because Owen and I were giggling, we were saying earlier, like, no, we drove this road this morning. How did we miss a leopard on a tree? But I don't think we missed it, thankfully. I don't think he was here, judging by how much he's eaten and how much is up there. He's got a good kill there going. So if he doesn't drop it in, or if he doesn't put it in a funny way that is going to compromise the balance of the kill, then he will likely have a good meal for the next sort of 2 days or so. So he should be a happy cat. Is that one of the organs there? I can't see if that's the skin or if he's maybe taken out the lungs or something else like that, because there are a lot of nutrition, or there's a high nutritional value for the animals. They don't only just eat the meat, they'll eat the lungs, they'll eat the liver, they'll eat the heart, just not the stomach, because of course all of these organs have very important nutrients and enzymes that keep the animals healthy, and not being able to feed on those particular organs is what sometimes causes some deficiencies or natural deficiencies in the animals that are kept in captivity. So you'll see that animals are kept in captivity. A lot of the times you'll need to give them supplements for calcium, phosphorus, I think even zinc for some of them, and it's because they don't get all of those nutrients from everything that they eat. Oh yeah, that's definitely, maybe it was another organ that fell, because that seems to be the stomach, what he's taken out there. And he's eating quite desperately, so I think it might be safe to assume that this kill was made sometime during the afternoon. His entire face is disappearing inside of the impala. So if this is a little bit too much, we suggest perhaps having a strong cup of tea, because this is a happy leopard right here. It's a young male leopard that's still trying to find his way in life. And so far, I must say it's doing well. It's impressive. I mean, he's a big male, but an impala ewe is still a very big creature. And he might also be lucky, because with the amount of rain that we've had, then of course there might be a natural pan somewhere around here, so he won't have to walk too far to get water. He won't have to leave this, because the biggest pan that is around here, I would say, it's probably Treehouse Dam, but he won't have to walk that far if he just finds a little pan somewhere around here. He might get lucky. Wow. I don't know what fell earlier. Maybe it was the heart. Maybe a big piece of meat, because he's definitely that round thing that you see next to his face, that's the stomach. So he hasn't even pulled out the stomach contents. And it's quite amazing if you think about it, because a lot of the times the leopards, particularly the females, will feed on the kill a little bit just as they make the kill, but often they will try to open the carcass and get the stomach out to lighten the load, especially if they want to put it up a tree. So the fact that he's put this entire impala, even with the stomach that adds weight, on top. It's quite impressive.
I finally found the reptile I was looking for. Look at this. I feel like this has been a bit of a reptile day for me, and I'm not complaining. I love reptiles. I really love reptiles. I think they're completely underrated. Look how blue he is. And blue. No, that song was awful. It's one of the worst songs in the world. Look at him go. Definitely a male. Wouldn't surprise me if there was a female in this Jackalberry as well. And he's possibly trying to impress. I mean, seeing a color like that out here in the bush is really quite striking. It's actually such a beautiful color. This is a triagama, everyone. I think I forgot to tell you that, didn't I? I forgot to actually say what we're looking at, sorry, in case any of you are unfamiliar. It's a triagama, and it's a male. The males are the ones that look like Smurfs. Females don't. Is he going to do another jump, Darren? We actually watched him jump from one branch to another like a frog. Are you going to do it again? It'd be very cool if you did. No. We are climbing down now.
Yeah, he did.
Did he?
Yeah, not a huge one like the last time.
Come back, little guy. Oh, that was so cool. We're just sitting watching the landscape after the rain. The sun is not quite popped out yet, but at least the rain is gone. And the birds are singing, they're trying to dry off. So we're just going to sit here for a moment or two and listen to all the sounds after the storm. Isn't it wonderful to hear the bush alive again after they've been hiding from all the rain? Are
you ever seen a hippo's tongue? I've lost my train of thought.
Play.
Yes, I know it was play, but I had a point and I forgot it. I got distracted. I find young hippos so funny. I can see you guys. Yeah, and it's through things like play fighting, for example, for young males and so on. When they play fight, they build up their abilities and how to do that, and all young animals will do it. I mean, you'll see lions doing it, you'll see leopard cubs climbing up trees, you'll see young elephants play fighting or putting up their trunks against one another and trying to push each other out of the way. So there's value in what they're doing, even if to us it doesn't seem like something particularly important, and it's just funny to watch them. They are building the skills that will hopefully help ensure their survival later on. Kevin, you were wondering if the hippos give birth in the water. They do. They give birth in the water, they mate in the water, and they can also nurse their young ones underwater. So they are very well adapted to the semi-aquatic lifestyle, and I say semi-aquatic because they'll spend most of their time in the water. It's the area where they feel safe, but they come out of the water at night to look for food. So they actually need also the land. The ones at the back are playing. This one's on the right. Like big hippos. They're play fighting now. Although there's quite a size difference. I want to say these are probably two young boys. No offense to the young boys out there, but I don't think the females will try to fight that way. Oh, getting serious now. Starting to get a little bit more active, the hippos, now that the sun's going down. Unary males in general of all the species tend to live slightly less than females, so generally hippos are believed to live until they're about 30 to 35, so the females will probably live a little bit longer, more towards 35 and upwards, and the males more towards 30. The reason for it is the males engage in a lot more fighting and a lot of more defending of territories than the females. The females in general tend to just do their own thing, and they don't spend as much time fighting other creatures of the same species. So the males tend to live slightly less than the females. Same in the case of the hippos. A dominant bull will try to hold on to his power and his territory or his pod for as long as possible without allowing or while fighting off any other potential suitors that might try to take over his pod. The little one going out. Oh, you had us fooled. I thought that you were gonna go out. We just want to see your tiny little legs. That is it. Oh, for such a young creature, it's very agile in the water. Clearly feels comfortable jumping up and down there. Shame she's looking up like, oh, please help me. It's quite a handful, this youngster. Samantha, I think that hippos are fully grown maybe when they're about 6 to 8 years old, depending if it's a male or a female. So they'll be sexually mature before then, and they won't be under the care of the mother at that age. But it takes them quite a while to become adults. So this little one still has got a very long life ahead of it, and a very long time before we can actually call it a fully grown hippo, either a male or a female. Okay. I thought it tried getting on top of the mom's back. Maybe it can't reach. It's jumping or bouncing off the bottom and then just trying to get on top of the mom, but it can't. Oh. Trying a new angle. I think it's definitely trying to convince the mom of something naughty. Maybe it just wants to go on its mom's shoulders and the mother won't let it. Look, it's definitely trying. It really wants to go on top of the mom's back. And the mom's having none of it. Oh, it did it! It did it for a second! Where did you guys disappear onto? I think it's just playing games, just jumping from on top of the mother from one side to the next. It's actually very adorable. Yes! You did it! Yay! At long last! I wonder why it's keeping the nose in there. Oh! Oh! The mom's just like, no, I said no, I will not carry you. But why? Let's see if she stands back up just to make it slip down again. Maybe she's been carrying it the whole day and she just doesn't feel like it anymore. Are you gonna try again? Maybe it needs to come running. Two youngsters at the back are back at it, like fully grown hippos with big tusks. It's so hard to choose where to watch because as the ones are fighting in the back, then the little one is just like almost like doing hoops and loops to get on top of the mother. That's very funny. Almost look like a dolphin there, just trying to stick its head out of the water. It's almost like they've got the zoomies now. They're going into the crazy hour, you know, that I don't know if parents call it suicide hour, but it's that hour before, you know, when they get hyperactive just before they have to have dinner or go to sleep or something like that, and then they just go a little bit crazy. They start running around and doing all sorts of things. What a handful.
is Flipper.
Flipper. Yeah, maybe we should call it Flipper, Darren. You're right. Why are you yawning, ma'am? Evelyn, you say you want to eat whatever this hippo has. Well, whatever it is, it will certainly make you hyper. I thought for a second there when she opened its mouth that it was maybe going to try and jump on her mouth. That would have been quite funny, to be honest. It must also be very slippery to try and get on top of the mother, because they are also slippery themselves. And with all that water, I don't think it's not attempting to do the easiest of things. Macy, we call a group of hippos a pod or a raft. Oh, I think Mom's decided they're going. I wonder if she's gonna come onto the island. Kind of nudging it in that direction. It's shallower there, as you can see, because you can see more of the hippo. Another little one, but I'm not sure what her plans are right now. Maybe she's just like, fine, we'll play around here for a little bit. You're being a handful. Or maybe this is a timeout area. I'm not sure yet.
Oh, this is a lovely little pan, actually. I just want to take a look at it. It's a pan that I often forget about. It's very close to the Mowati as well, which makes it quite accessible for animals. But if you look, there's quite a film of algae. And algae blooms for lots of reasons, probably lots of nutrients in there from animals defecating. Elephants, rhinos, hyenas pump sort of extra nutrients into the water, and it's very stagnant. Other than the rains last night, there's sort of no inflow, no outflow. It's just a really stagnant water body. And once the oxygen gets removed, well, it looks like this. We're just going to sit for a moment or two as there's some wonderful sands around us right now.